helps you to access. And for your information, banks now are beginning to absorb the people who have come through the Hustler Fund, because the banks can now look at their credit rating records and know that these are good borrowers. They may not have a title deed, they may not have a logbook, but they are good borrowers and they are well-behaved business people. So I want to persuade my good friends, the people who talk from Nairobi. They talk to us from posh hotels, They have money from this NGO and that NGO and the other one. Please, there are Kenyans who today have a mechanism for them to borrow money. And for your information, these small people who borrow 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, they have mobilized 5 billion shillings in savings over the last 3 years. 5 billion shillings in savings. There are people who would have wanted to save 20, 30, 40, 50 shillings a day. They did not have a mechanism on where to save without going into a place where their money could be lost. Now they have a mechanism under Hustler Fund that has the backstopping of the government of Kenya. They know their money is safe. And if they have mobilized 5 billion shillings in savings, micro, very small enterprise people who borrow 100, 500, 1,000 shillings, they do not deserve the condemnation that I see being leveled against them by some of the people in this space. To some of our friends, a micro loan of 1,000 seems too small to matter to anybody. But that is only because they have never walked in the shoes of those who were left at the margins of our society for far too long. They have never experienced the despair of being locked out of the financial system like millions of Kenyans have been for a long time, of having no credit history, no collateral, and no chance. That's what Hustler Fund is affording. And now, those same critics are spreading fear and despondency by falsely claiming that the fund has a 60% default rate. That is a deliberate distortion of facts. The truth, backed by data, is that the Hustler Fund has a recovery rate of 83.3%, nearly identical to that of formal banking sector, whose repayment rates stands at 83.6%. So what exactly are these people telling us? That ordinary, hard-working Kenyans are serial defaulters? Of course they are not. Kenyans are better than that. Kenyans are honest. Kenyans are resilient. Given the right tools and a fair chance, Kenyans will always do their part. I want to say that we will not be distracted. Those who, when facts do not serve their agenda, resort to fabricating narratives to prop up their falsehood. We understand, we remain unchallenged in building a new, inclusive, fair, equitable society. And I count on the private sector as essential allies and collaborators in this journey. Ladies and gentlemen, I have received a comprehensive list of priority issues for government consideration. but I want to hear it from you in person. I want you to tell me what is working, because there are many things that are working. And I also want to tell you what is not working so well and what is not working at all, so that we can continuously recalibrate this space. We've come here to listen to you. And the purpose of government is to assist the private sector, to create the environment for the private sector to do what they know how to do best. Whether it is in our affordable housing program, I'm very happy with the hundreds of companies run by Kenyans who are undertaking the construction of the affordable houses, the markets, the hostels that are changing our skyline in Kenya. You know, the good news about this program is that 100% of the contractors in our housing program are Kenyan contractors. 100%. That makes me very proud that whatever you see in Mukuru or in every large town today around Kenya, you will see that the skyline is changing because of affordable housing. But that is the work of Kenyan companies. I assure you of my personal commitment and that of the entire government to address them with speed and clarity and purpose. Towards this end, and to further strengthen the business environment, the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry will expedite the submission of the Business Laws Amendment Bill 2025 to the Cabinet by the end of this month. This will fast-track legal issues identified by the business sector that were not part of the Finance Bill 2025. The Prime Cabinet Secretary will coordinate with Parliament to finalize all pending business-related legislation in Parliament by December this year. And the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry will fully implement a digital one-stop center to anchor business climate issues at the Kenya Investments Authority by June next year. The Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry will anchor the ministerial stakeholder forums with the private sector every quarter going forward and will better coordinate the issues raised by the private sector. That said, ladies and gentlemen, we must also be realistic. We must not be distracted by the few who would rather see Kenya remain as it is instead of what it could become. We may not solve every issue at once or overnight, but every step forward is meaningful progress. Let us continue to innovate and to relentlessly refine as we commit to building a nation that is fueled by public-private partnership, powered by enterprise, anchored in equity, and driven by a shared purpose to uplift everybody. We will continue to engage with you and look at what other interventions that are necessary. Let me stop here because it was not my intention to make a speech. My intention today was to come and listen to what you have to say. And as I said, to tell me what is working so that we can accelerate, what is not working so well so that we can correct, and what has not started so that we can find a way of beginning. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Excellency, for those candid comments. and allow me to take this opportunity now to usher us to the next stage, where I will invite the CEO of KEPSA, Caro, to kindly come and make a few comments, and then we move to the next session. This is your day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Honorable William Samoei Ruto, the President of Kenya, all protocols observed, and all the captains of industry, government officials, stand on the protocols that had been mentioned earlier. And I just want to say karibuni on behalf of the ministry partnership that we've worked together to put this together. As the President said in the morning, this is a bit different from our issue roundtables. And I know the next one will go back and resume back to how we have met and continue to do that. But as we move to the next session, which is the dialogue session, as much we've tried to see how we can still have dialogue, so we'll make it like more of a fireside chat. And we'll focus on two areas. One, the progress report. And as the President said, sometimes I think we are caught up in a lot of what's not working. We forget what's working. And I think today there will be some good news, because in the last 4 roundtables that we had, the President last year focused on areas like tourism and labor, manufacturing, ICT, financial services, and agriculture sectors. We had 8 of 66 issues that were presented, and we got 76 commitments out of those 68 issues. 19 have been completed, 57 are in progress and good progress, and we'll be mentioning that, which is and then only 4 will require your intervention, Your Excellency, in the sense we need to give a commitment, because we didn't get to the commitment stage in those 4, and that's what we'll be going into in the fireside chat as I go through that. But then there are sectors that we didn't go through, and that's health, energy, education, infrastructure, and land, and I hope the next roundtable in State House will be covering that. Then today we'll focus on trade. And it's an interesting time, and I'll call the chair to really mention on that. And really, it's because there's a new world trade order in town. And so we have to organize ourselves in a certain way if we're going to be competitive. And so that's why we are focused today. So where the partners you see, the associations you see down here who are members of KEPSA, are the ones who came together and said, what are the areas that we can look at trade that will make us competitive? KEPSA has 134 associations, giving us a reach of over 2 million businesses, and we hope once a year, beyond the roundtables, Your Excellency, at the end of every year, you can have a chance to meet representatives for all these associations and businesses, so that we can look back and say, what have we achieved in the year? And we can be the ambassadors to the rest of the country of what we are doing as a country, because we are stakeholders, we are partners with government. So I really emphasize that apart from the 2 roundtables, that the last roundtable at the end of the year will be a meeting of only progress with the whole business community. And then we're so very grateful for reestablishing again the ministerial stakeholder forums. And I know some of the ministers we worked with very closely, like the Minister of Transport, who's here, Davis Chilchil, remembers those ministerial stakeholder forums and the things we were able to achieve. And so I'm so grateful, and hope every ministry will now meet regularly on this ministerial stakeholder forum, so that by the time we are coming to you, it's very key issues that are national, regional, and international that we need to resolve together, and not the everyday issues of VAT refunds and energy is not working for manufacturers, for tourism, for retailers, and all that. So with those few remarks, I would really want to ask that Your Excellency and the CS, you'd come to stage. We'll sit here, we'll go through the issues, and then I will ask the key people from these partners of trade associations and the ones that worked on the trade issues. Then they'll ask the different questions and recommendations, and we can have a dialogue on that. So that's where we're going to start, and then I'll call the chair once we finish with the progress report. So, Your Excellency, if you don't mind, and the CS of Trade. So in terms of progress report, in tourism and labor, and I'll go very quickly so that we save time and go to the 9 issues of trade today. We had one of the issues was trade beach boys at the beach. And in terms of progress, I'll not go into what was committed because I'll just go straight to the progress. The code of conduct for beach operators is being finalized, and the beach traders have been encouraged to form cooperatives for self-regulation and funding. So that's in progress, Your Excellency. And the things in progress, if there's anything, Your Excellency, you'd like to add in terms of commitment, then we can do that. The other one was keeping parks as premium product, and I know you challenged us about Masai Mara, and industry players are working with KWS on the minimum conditions for licensing so that we keep it as a premium. M-Pesa payments that need to be paid directly to the pay bill 222 without having to log into eCitizen, that was done. And then allowing the Turkish airline to access Mombasa and Eastern Europe, the application was done, and so that's done. So that the Istanbul-Nairobi daily flights are now going to start happening for Qatar Airways application for direct flights Doha-Mombasa is in progress. An MOU was signed between KQ and Qatar Airways for code sharing and launch of the direct flights. The other one was consideration of waiving electronic travel authorization in progress. On 31st January, the Cabinet waived the ETA requirement for all African citizens, and multi-entry ETA and expedited processing have been operationalized. Pending bills, the tourism sector, like many other sectors, has a lot of pending bills, and that's in progress.
So that we don't come back to them, I think Dave is here as a progress report on flights, the flights that I think the industry wanted us to provide more additional capacity, give more airlines